Kitco News special coverage of the Xplor convention is brought to you by Radisson Mining.
Welcome to Kitco News. I'm Niels Christensen. Welcome to the Xplor Mining Conference in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Joining me today is Brendan Haynes, CEO and President of Hawkmoon Resources. Brendan, thank you very much. It's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
What's really interesting about Hawkmoon is that my shoes are older than this company. No.
Correct.
You guys, a year and a half.
Correct. We've been public a year and a half. I incorporated it in early 2019, and we had a fabulous run up to being public with gold taking quite a tear in the summer of 2020. Things have obviously quieted down a little bit in this sector, and we've had some challenges.
So how has it been? You know, like a company that's a year and a half old. Have you had to do any financing in this environment? Have you had to do this, you know, in this past year? What has it been like trying to get your story out when nobody cares about gold, when nobody cares about the junior mining space?
In the summer of this year, we were cashed up, so we were able to do our planned drill program. It was north of La Belle-sur-Quévillon on our Wilson project. It looks like we've had some good results. I've seen the first 6 intercepts, and there's 4 more to come from the ALS labs. We'll be able to announce that in the near term. So at least we can point to that we had a successful summer for drilling and work. As far as financing goes, that'll come hopefully in the later Q4 or early New Year. We will be announcing a couple of new properties and have some other endeavors to kind of reboot Hawkmoon 2.0 for 2023, because it has been a challenging summer for all companies, from large market cap down to juniors like us.
So in your opinion, what's the health of the mining sector? You know, we saw gold prices drop significantly from their March highs. In turn, you know, sentiment in the mining sector has really dropped. Prices have really dropped. Do you think we're at the bottom? Are we near a bottom?
So what you're talking about is 2 separate things. Sentiment and price performance is one topic, but the healthiness of this sector in general is better than ever. We've got companies with fantastic assets, excellent results, and wonderful properties that are doing amazing things with reduced treasuries. And so their stock price is way below in their 52-week lows, and it's an excellent buying opportunity. But there's a malaise in the investment community against juniors right now. But yet, to survive this climate, a junior has to be better than ever. You can't rely on the old methods of put out your assays and then immediately see a bump in the stock. You have to be very creative. So that forces the good companies to adapt, change, and move forward projects to hopefully see them come to a transaction. So there's better companies than ever that are all undervalued right now, and it's a shopping market. What we've got.
How do you choose though? You know, like how does Hawkmoon get their sort of rise above the noise and get their message out to investors? Because like, I guess, you know, not only is there a lot of junior explorers. I mean, it's a dense industry. But you know, like there's this malaise. So how do you attract that investor capital?
Or old world pounding the pavement. You have to be on the phones contacting people. You need to go to events like this. You have to network one by one, each person by person. It's if I can use, it's similar to what religious groups do when they go door to door and hand out their materials. We at any given point as a junior may only have 200 subscribers holding stock. You have to work hard to try to keep them happy so that they're not distracted to go elsewhere. And you're always looking for others that are going to support. So it's not generally, it's very focused on person by person. So it's a relationship business, and it's building those relationships with somebody.
And how has it been for Hawkmoon?
Hawkmoon's done well over the first year and a half. We've been able to successfully finance. We've been able to do 8,000 meters of drilling on our key project, the Wilson. We have a transaction on our secondary project, the Lava, which we'll be announcing soon. The biggest challenge, quite frankly, Niels, has been acceptance in Quebec.
Well, we were talking about that offline, and I wanted to get your opinion on, Quebec as a mining jurisdiction. You do have two projects. What does the sort of mineralization look like in your opinion? But you also said there's a second aspect to mining in Quebec.
Quebec mining is, in my opinion, the best in Canada. The jurisdiction is fantastic to work in. The gold numbers and deposits here are second class, second to none. The people are very knowledgeable about mining. Juniors are able to advance projects here. Ideal location to work in. So it's fantastic. But English is my first language. I'm Anglais. I'm from Vancouver. I don't speak French. My French is very comme ci, comme ça. Therefore, I will never fully be, and our company will never fully be accepted. And that's a reality that we've had to face. We did a number of meetings and efforts and reach out to funds of Quebec. Unfortunately, none of them were interested in participating with us. The biggest stumbling block is that we're just not French enough.
So would that be an argument then to move offices to Montreal or Val-d'Or or Quebec City? I mean, I know Vancouver is sort of the mining hub in Canada for projects and stuff like that. But so is there a case to be made that it should be maybe Quebec so you're not an outsider?
In order to accomplish that, we would open up a satellite office in Quebec, and I would bring somebody onto the board who is well situated here in Quebec, is a local, has that reputation, and can come on board as a director, hopefully has a geological background. One of my goals coming to this function, and being at this event, was hoping to find somebody that I can connect with, that maybe we can at least get this conversation going. So I'm open to suggestions on that side of things, because I do think we need to flush out our board a little bit more with locally born Quebec people to give us some leg up within this province.
Well, I guess that's the hard part. I mean, yeah, you've been around for a year and a half, and I guess how did the opportunity come up for Quebec? I mean, you do see this revival of projects in BC and especially in the interior. What made you go to the other side of the province then?
My good friend Thomas Clark and our chief geologist for Hawkmoon was the initial geologist who discovered Bonterra's 1.5 million deposit, the Gladiator. His success has been quite significant in the Abitibi region. And when we first got together and I pitched him on joining Hawkmoon as a founder and director with me, he said yes, but I think Quebec should be our focus. Once we looked into it, we realized that this is an excellent province for working claims and seeing a potential mine in the future yield. You've got the Malartic here, Osisko is here, Bonterra is here, Troilus, many big companies that are moving things forward. So this is where you want to be if you're into gold exploration. But we've had some growing pains where when we do pitch groups here, banks, funds, investors, they do look at us as being, those guys from Vancouver. So there's not as much acceptance there.
Are you, just sort of going back to the mineralization, are you surprised that there's still projects available? Like there's still places to be explored. Like it just mining. Like we've had Quebec mining in Quebec has lasted 100 years.
Yes.
And it's always interesting to see that there are still places that are underexplored in the province and in the Abitibi.
The old Belle-Terre camp and mine is an area near Rouyn-Noranda that has a lot of potential. That was once a thriving area. It's now starting to get more work done, and I see that as a new a new hot area in Quebec, where Wilson is, north of La Belle-sur-Quévillon. There's still plenty of great intercepts being drilled. To give you an example, on our Wilson project last year, we used a pond about 50 meters south of the two main structures on the project, and it had never been touched as far as any exploration work. As the water levels went down from the drilling being done, we found an outcrop in the water, and we were able to get an intercept of 83.6 grams from just putting in a hole after seeing it exposed. So there is gold out there. There's lots of it, but it is in harder to reach places. It's not just at your fingertips.
So is that it? Like, does the gold price have to go up for these projects to be economical to move forward, do you think?
The gold price is already economical. If you look at the statistics of a Cisco and what they've set as their price for operating Windfall, they are above that number. But the general public thinks it should be 2,000 or higher. Seems to be a lot of on the lips of people around that. There's too much manipulation in the gold market. We know this. And so gold has gone through a unique few years where we've had COVID, which is not the usual type of tester to its pricing. And I see gold still has value. The one thing I always tell people is this: government can print money till the cows come home, but you can't print gold. It's either there or it's not. So it is a store of value that will always be necessary for humans.
Do you think we've seen the bottom then in the gold price? Do you even? I guess as CEO, I mean, you can't really care, but I mean, because it drives sentiment so much. Do you think we've seen the bottom?
That's hard to tell. I think we are in the bottom at this point. Yeah. We have to be. I've been in this industry for over 20 years, and this was probably the hardest summer I've seen. There was examples of companies putting out fantastic drill results, and stock price didn't react as we expected, where it would go up, it would actually go down, which leaves your head scratching. People just seem to be looking at other ideas. Or, with COVID 2 years of being essentially locked up, now people want to travel. They have other pursuits right now. During the summer, investments didn't seem to be a primary concern. It was very quiet out there. It's like a ghost town. I was making calls, people are away. I'm getting those vacation responses on emails. So I decided, let's just lay low, get our work done, and we'll see how we do in the fall for marketing. So you're having to take month by month and kind of navigate, you have to navigate the situations. Another analogy I always use is, if you're going to run a mining company, you have to be good at juggling. You're juggling three balls. First of all, you're an entrepreneur running a small business. That is precarious enough. Number two, you're exploring for a mineral or a metal that's rather rare. So that is also another part that's quite volatile. And finally, you have the stock market itself, which you have to navigate too. So it's not for the faint of heart to run a junior mining company when you have those three things to manage.
One of the things that I've heard is there needs to be more consolidation in the mining sector. Is that something you heard when you were launching? And what are you doing in this crowded field? What do you say to those arguments that we need more consolidation in the mining sector?
I think the market will make it happen because certain companies just can't finance, and eventually they run out of steam. So the market will dictate that condition. How we can offset that is spend our money in the treasury as wisely as possible, look for low-cost solutions, maximize your meterage through as much calculation as you can. I'm open to joint ventures. I'm open to the idea of merging companies together in order to move to the next level. There's all sorts of things that you can do, but you have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to look at what's happening, discuss with your board, and see if there's a better way to move forward.
Well, and I guess, part of the problem is like not only are you a year and a half old, but offices in Vancouver. So, all of these challenges, you're doing this with one hand tied behind your back.
Sort of, yeah. It is that way. We've been hamstrung with one hand behind our back effectively from challenging markets, but you're always going to have that. Junior markets are traditionally ups and downs. What I'm doing now is I'll be announcing a few new properties that we will own outright. I'll be moving forward with a rebranding of the company, a new website. We look to have continuous news next year. We look to bring on another board member, as I'd already previously discussed with you, and I'll be attending a mining shows in November in Switzerland and Germany. So Hawkmoon will be representing there too.
You guys are busy.
Yes,
pounding the pavement. I guess in this market, you just have to pound the pavement.
Yes. Getting back to that one by one, speaking to people.
Brandon, thank you very much for your time. This has been an enlightening conversation. Yeah. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching Kitco News. Stay tuned for more coverage from the Xplor Mining Conference.
Kitco News special coverage of the Xplor Convention is brought to you by Radisson Mining.